was decent.
All right, everybody, now is the time that you have been waiting for. It is the start of the Mega Man X4 race, and we do have 3 participants. We have JustLeeBelmont, ThisIsJayC, and Johnny Go. And we are going to get started here on my count of 3. So best of luck to all of you. All right, here we go in 3, 2, 1, go.
And hey, everybody. This is your friendly neighborhood Radio Optimism commentating on this for you. This is a bit of an untraditional race in that we have 2 X100%, and then JustLeeBelmont playing 0 100%. But let's face it, he's probably going to win anyways because it's 0 and 0 is always faster, but we'll see. The concept behind 100%, if you guys aren't familiar, is literally to collect everything. So for X, it's a little bit different than 0. X has to collect the capsule, so it takes him a little bit longer. And 0 only has to capture just your normal items, heart tanks, sub-tanks, and what would be a weapon tank. But needless to say, it's going to be cool. So this is the first stage. You fight a boss named Regrion, who has a fair bit of RNG for Mega Man, but 0 pretty much slashes through him relatively quickly. And Lee's playing with the Dark 0, which is a code you can put in at the beginning. It's literally just cosmetic, doesn't really do anything.
Ready.
And every stage, if you guys have never played this game before, there's two acts to each stage, for the most part, and you have to go through each act. And there's a few of them that are pretty cool. Have a couple of neat little gimmicks to them. There's one that has a speed run within a speed run. Some of them are auto scrollers. Some of them are half auto scrollers. So we're gonna be coming up here to the first boss. There's a little bit of a strategy here for X. So you're gonna see JC on the top right and Johnny Go on the bottom left. They're gonna try and hope for something called the node rotation, where they're going to try and kill a Gregorion before he rotates over to the left-hand side by first jumping and hitting him with a full charge shot, and then hitting him with just half charge shots and hoping to get this little 3-shot combo for the first try, and then a machine gun combo on the second try. It looks like Johnny Go is getting it so far. But you don't want him to rotate to their side. It's kind of how it is, but it looks like Johnny Go almost had the whole no rotation there. Point behind the no rotation is so that way you can kill him fast. When he rotates over to the left-hand side is mostly because it takes about 10 seconds. So if the getting the no rotation is mostly RNG based, so you sort of just have to hope that he follows directions. And you're seeing here, you'll see now we're getting introduced to all the bosses. Your typical 8 boss or 8 Maverick setup. And you'll have you have 2 different characters here, where you have Iris for 0, which is sort of like his little friend that tells him what to do. Is not really actually helpful. And then Double for Mega Man that does exactly the same thing. But Double is everybody's spirit animal here because he's rotund. And that's what I desire to be like in life.
Ready.
So we're going to be starting off with 2. They're both starting off differently. So we're going to have Jet Stingray first for Lee and Magma Dragoon for X. So the reason why we do Jet Stingray, at least I'm assuming as much, is because Jet Stingray's stage actually relatively difficult. So what he's doing up in the top left is he's jumping in the air, he's hitting his dash button, and then holding down. And the reason why you do that is because this is technically an auto-scroller, but you can make the auto-scroller go fast by dashing in the air, and only when you're in the air. When you hold down, it's because you want to get back down to the ground as fast as possible so you can dash again. However, there's a few gimmicks in that if you hit the edge of a platform, your jump gets delayed by about a half a second, so you have to hope that you hit the platform sooner rather than later and don't fall off a cliff. For Magma Dragoon, we do Magma Dragoon first because he is pretty much the easiest boss to kill with the traditional X Buster here. There are a few items on the stage, but X does not get them now. We have to actually revisit this later, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. But the strategy for killing Magma Dragoon is half charge shot mashing, because Magma Dragoon's iframes are really, really low, and it's really easy to kill him quickly with just a half charge shot and appropriate placement. And you see that Lee is about to get his first item here, which is going to be a sub tank. And he grabbed it up there by jumping up to the top platform and dashing across so he can get it. Picks up his full health. And you see the X here, bottom left, you see Johnny Go doing the half charge shots by just avoiding damage and hitting with the half charges. Because his iframes perfectly line up with how long it takes Mega Man to charge up a half charge shot. And it looks like Johnny's our first one to finish. JC is doing his best. He's not getting very good RNG because Magma Dragoon is not cooperating. He's not staying on the ground. You want Magma Dragoon to technically stay on the ground as long as possible when you're doing this. We're going to see a cool little gimmick here eventually with Zero once Lee gets good RNG, which is something called SDC or slash dash cancel. And it's a way to, right here you'll see, what Lee does is he mashes his saber attack and dash, and it causes it so that way the iframes don't trigger for the boss and you can kill him much quicker. And this is basically the strategy for Zero going throughout the whole game for the remainder of the bosses, is to set them up into a position where you can do your SDC. We're going to be going on to Web Spider for X. And Web Spider is going to be our first capsule. We're also going to pick up a heart tank in this level. And there's a little bit of a gimmick with Web Spider near the end of the game, but you'll see that later. We're going to pick up the foot piece, which allows us to hover in the middle of the air and also do air dash. And Lee's going to do Magma Dragoon next. Magma Dragoon, technically one of the easier bosses for Zero, because as long as he participates with his RNG, you can pretty much slash dash cancel him down relatively quickly, almost in 1 or 2 rotations. If you want to do a donation, we have a little bit of time here.
Sure thing. We do have a few. We have Amamus with a $25 donation, says, awesome event so far. Lots of luck to my boys JC and Johnny Go, and Lee too, I suppose, on their upcoming Mega Man X4 run. X gonna give it to you. XOXO, the wife. Paul Saltine, $2, says, $2 hype train for Iris. And SQ Lace says, with $2, says, thanks for letting me be part of this amazing marathon. Best of luck to the runners, and let's get $500.
So we're Lee's approaching here the second part. I'm going to point something out when he gets to it, and we'll also see Johnny at the bottom. What you do with Rising Fire here is you can hit these little logs, and these logs will burn up and reveal items sometimes. That's where you pick up the heart tank on this level. Lee right here, he's trying to jump up to get the heart tank. When you're Mega Man, you can't actually get the heart tank until you have either an item like the boots, or you have to have the arm piece and charge Rising Fire, which is the ability you get from Magma Dragoon. What I wanted to point out here was the robot you see everyone grabbing. This makes it so that way you can get through this part of the stage a little bit quicker, and then to destroy these rocks in the bottom. That way you don't have to go up and around. It saves you about 5 or 6 seconds. And then here, the strategy for Web Spider that you see Johnny Go doing is pretty much just hitting him with full charge shots. The half charge shots for Web Spider don't really do enough damage. So you hit him with full charge shots, and halfway through the battle, he actually drops down and drops these webs, and you have to avoid some damage here, and he'll spit out a web at you, just like Johnny Go got caught in, unfortunately, and it'll stick you there, and you'll lose about 2-3 seconds of time. But normally you want a damage boost, so that way when he shoots that web at you, it doesn't hurt you. it looks like we Lee died there into the lava. Unfortunate. It's hard to do SVC with Magma Dragoon, especially when he gets into perfect position. You'd have to line yourself up just right, otherwise you'll fall right into the lava. Oh, and it looks like the Iris incentive has been met, from what I understand. So, Lee, we're going to be watching the Iris cutscene.
Yeah, that is correct. There was $100, it looks like, anonymous donation was just sent in. So that puts us at $533.
We're about to get to see the most anime thing that's ever been made in video games. So thank you to anonymous donor. Iris cutscene is infamous with this game. Now we're doing Storm Owl for Johnny. What he does in the very first part of this is he gets into this ride armor, and this ride armor is pretty neat because he can air dash. He also has a charge shot that'll pretty much kill everything on screen in one shot. So the idea is to just air dash and shoot everything with a charge shot to get through the first part of this stage. And Lee is going to be doing Cyber Peacock next, and he does Cyber Peacock next because this is the weakness. What he gets from Magma Dragoon, the fire ability, which is Cyber Peacock's weakness, is ultimately what you want. And here we also, on this stage, we get the... see if you can get it. So there's a spike jump there. These two little pixels on those spikes. There's like one pixel very top of it where it doesn't do any damage to you. And looks like Johnny was able to line it up correctly. And he's going to get what's called the stock shot buster upgrade. So this buster upgrade allows you to charge up your shots and pretty much put 4 stock shots in the back. That way you can shoot 4 of them quickly, and it's actually faster than the alternative, which is called the Plasma Buster. He uses the Charge Rising Fire here, which is a really overpowered ability on the mini-boss, and is able to kill him between all his iframes relatively quickly. And also with Lee, if you notice, he's going through Act 1 of this stage, and you see that he's going through different parts of the stages and getting different S ranks. This is the stage that's basically a speed run within a speed run. You have to get through these stages fast, and if you don't get through them fast enough, you won't get an S rank in the end. And it's important because the S rank is what allows you to get the special items after you leave that part of the level. So he has to get the S rank to get a sub tank, and also an S rank to get the heart tank at the end. And it looks like Johnny just finished up Storm Owl. That was actually a pretty good kill. Storm Owl, there's a couple of different ways to approach it. You can use Cyber Peacock's ability to get through that stage a little bit quicker by hitting Storm Owl with that, and then it actually kills his iframes for a minute, and you can do a bunch of damage in between those iframes. But it's not as fast to go do Cyber Peacock prior to this. So Johnny is going to be doing Frost Walrus next. Frost Walrus has a mini boss on stage, and also a couple of additional items we're going to be picking up. And this stage is a little bit different because there's a couple of we call an enemy gauntlet. The enemy gauntlet is kind of a pain, and also he's going to try and do a fast fall down the part of the level, which allows him to basically, in this game, if you dash and then jump, if you're falling after you dash jump, you will always fall a lot faster than you would if without dash jumping. So he's going to try and fall down a bunch of platforms and avoid hitting them, so that way he can get down there a little bit quicker. It sounds like not a big deal, but for a Mega Man runner, it's always a lot of fun being able to hit this without actually hitting any of the platforms. He's also going to try and get a special item up here, which he was able to do successfully. I can never do that myself whenever I do 100 runs, so kudos to that. I hate that part. Here comes the platform jump up here. You're going to see Lee's going to start fighting Cyber Peacock. I already did, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit behind. Let me refresh. So he uses basically just the fire on Cyber Peacock, and it just eliminates him immediately. Johnny got the fast fall, which was nice. And so here, this boss is a little bit RNG based. You want to try to wait for him to get to the top of his apex when he's moving. And the other thing that comes into play is when he goes into this little fist mode, you can't do any damage to him. So you want to try to get him as close to a wall as possible and hit him from the back end of his hitbox. He will turn back around and attack back at you, so you can sort of cycle him against the wall. That way, you don't have to wait for his iframe, or not iframes, just invincibility to go away. And we got Lee is now doing split mushroom, and it's a fun joke here from someone who's always in my chat. What is Mega Man's? This is actually for Warwick. Warwick, what is Mega Man's favorite pizza topping?
I have no idea.
Split mushroom.
Ah, Kappa.
Yes. Here's the enemy gauntlet that Johnny's going through, and he unfortunately he hit one of the birds, and one of those birds will actually freeze the screen, and you want to avoid that as much as possible. Lee is going through another enemy gauntlet on split mushroom stage, and looks like he just got the crap beat out of him there. But that's fine. It's really hard to avoid that, especially with Zero. And with Frost Walrus, you're probably wondering, well, what's the ability we're supposed to use to do damage to him? Surprise, it's Rising Fire. So we do fire here to kill him fast. Lee's actually doing something really cool here. So he's going to try and kill this little mini boss with the flaming uppercut. Well, I can't remember the name of it. I don't know how to say the names. There's another way you can do it where you can damage boost and hit the spikes below the mini boss, and then use that same ability to go upwards, and then do way more damage to him as the mini boss attacks. So there's a couple different ways you can approach that. So Johnny is going to be fighting the Colonel here, and the Colonel, after you defeat 4 Mavericks, X has to fight him. And the Colonel is weak against this ice, but also he does something called iframe cancels. So in between each changing animation, the Colonel's iframes actually reset. So you can actually do almost double or triple damage sometimes, depending on the ability, when he's in the middle of attacking. And it looks like he actually that was pretty good. That was really good RNG for Johnny, so he got through that relatively quickly. Lee's over here in Split Mushroom. He's in the auto scroller right now. So if you have a donation that you want to read, you got time for a donation.
Does not look like we have any donations as of right now, but
okay.
We did get that $100 donation. It wound up being from Empty in the chat.
Well, thank you, Empty Pork. So you see now Johnny's on our the other auto scroller, which is Jet Stingray. The same thing as from before, which is where you want to dash while you're in the air and then hold downwards. You can do the same thing. For Split Mushroom, Lee is just going to focus on hitting Split Mushroom as soon as his iframes are up. Since we don't have a boss weakness that we can leverage like X does, the idea would just to be hit him really quick with a single jumping slash. Yeah, the Colonel RNG was very nice. That can be a very big time save. The other thing about Jet Stingray's level, which is scary, is when you jump and then dash in the air, Mega Man has a little bit of control, so both Zero and Mega Man, so they can move up and down. But if you touch a platform while you're in the air, Mega Man, like, they will both be locked in their direction. They won't be able to move up and down. So if you're on your way to hit a wall, you're going to hit the wall, and you're going to have to start that level over. JC is now on to Colonel and finally finishing up Colonel, which was looks like it was a pretty good fight. And Lee is going to be facing Web Spider. The unfortunate part for Zero are a lot of these bosses you rely on what's called the slash dash cancel again. Looks like Johnny is getting terrible RNG with Jet Stingray, and looks like he missed a shot too. Basically, you want Jet Stingray to sort of stay in the same place and shoot those Stingrays at you, so that way you can hit him with shots. But he was not cooperating. And Johnny finally finished up Jet Stingray. That wasn't the best RNG you could hope for. You don't want him to dive. When he dives down, that wastes a lot of time. Lee, he's using a mechanic that only Zero gets, which is a double jump. So as long as you don't dash, you can actually double jump, which is pretty fun. Lee is also going, he can't do much with Web Spider here. So you're going to see him doing more jump slashes. Johnny is going to be doing Slash Beast next. Now, Slash Beast is a weird level in that this actually technically can be considered an auto-scroller. With the way that the level works, there is a scrolling background, and that background has a start and stop point. When you get to the end of the first act of this stage, the background has to actually have rotated through the start and finish, or at least come up to the end of the rolling background before you can actually end the level. So it's really weird, and if you time it right, sometimes you can actually get through a little bit quicker, but it's really hard to time getting through that quick. And also, at least 3 different times with X, you'll be stopped to watch someone throw a grenade, because it makes sense to me to watch someone throw a grenade and blow up a train that you're on instead of shooting them. Even though when people are doing nothing in this game, we shoot them anyways. And Mega Man for president. So we face the mini boss here, and what we're going to do is use Rising Fire for Johnny. He's going to use Rising Fire to try and do as much damage as he possibly can, and then use his X-Buster to shoot the bottom. And it looks like he got the good rotation, so the stage actually ended quickly, which means he was able to maybe inadvertently time or intentionally time the level correctly, so that way he would get the quick end. Lee is just using his air attack on Web Spider and leveraging damage boost, so that way he can avoid getting hit by the webs that he shoots. And he has a pretty good fight. Lee had a good Web Spider. This is the second act of Slash Beast at the bottom. And this is another enemy gauntlet, which is a pain. Really, you just need to time your attacks appropriately, so that way you can avoid getting hit by all the mechs and all the enemies that are there, because with the stock shot, it's impossible to shoot through all the enemies. You basically just have to unload all 4 shots you have saved up. And Lee will be doing Storm Owl next. And for the Slash Beast fight, Johnny is going to use the Ground Hunter, which is the ability we get from Jet Stingray, which so happens to be the boss weakness. And it pretty much handicaps Slash Beast, and he won't be able to do anything. Lee's using the same strategy that we used earlier with X, which is to use the right armor to dash in the air and do charge shots. That way you can get through. There's a little cool gimmick that you can do with your right armor. If you can land at the edge of the little ship there, you can actually teleport up the screen faster. It doesn't save that much time, but it's enough time that makes sense. So now we're going to be doing the Magma Dragoon revisit for Johnny. The reason why we do the revisit is because it's actually faster for Mega Man to revisit this stage and pick up 2 different items. So we get a heart tank, and then we also get a capsule here. So here's Lee. He's going to do Storm Owl. This is another fight where you can't really do the STC on here, which is unfortunate, but we actually do get some bosses where it's important. What Lee is trying to do is set him up so that way he can hit him with his Giga Strike, which is when he hits the ground, that will actually make it so that way he has iframes that can't be hurt. Those will go away, and then Lee should technically be able to do a lot of damage. We're going to get the armor piece from Slash Beast stage for X, and what this gives us is an ability called Nova Strike. Nova Strike is kind of a one-time use ability when you do X 100%. And the only way to recharge it is to either fill it up by collecting weapon refills or by taking damage. And it essentially makes you invulnerable for under a second, but it will do a ton of damage. It's pretty sure it's the strongest ability in the game. And he's going to be Split Mushroom next. It's a little bit different for Split Mushroom on X. Here we're going to be leveraging... at least I think we'll be leveraging something called Rising Fire, where you can use the Rising Fire ability to navigate yourself vertically through the stage so you can avoid having to climb ladders. And Lee's going to be moving on to Slash Beast next. So here, what you'll see Johnny do is he jumps in the air, uses Rising Fire, then Nova Strikes off screen. What this does is it actually messes up the camera lock for the mini-boss and allows X to completely skip it. So the game registers X as having initiated the boss fight, but the camera can't lock onto X, but it initiates the fight anyways. So we're actually able to skip that mini-boss there. Lee was able to pretty quickly kill the mini-boss. JC is over he's doing the Magma Dragon revisit. And he's also going to be picking up the armor for Nova Strike. And it should be mentioned that right now, it might seem like Johnny is way ahead, but there is still a lot that can go wrong in this game. This game is not favorable when it comes to RNG.
So would you say that Johnny's in the lead? So say right now?
I would say Johnny's in the lead. Jay and Lee are actually about neck and neck right now. The advantage that Lee has is he doesn't have to pick up any capsules, whereas both of them still have to pick up another capsule. But since Zero doesn't have them, he's about 2 minutes faster overall as a run. But right now, there's still a lot to go through that can really muck up on the entire run. So Johnny's going to be doing Web Spider. Web Spider we use, or not Web Spider, I'm sorry. He's going to be using Web Spider's ability to fight Split Mushroom, which he's going to do something cool where he shoots the web off screen. Normally when you shoot this web, you have to wait for the animation to completely finish before you can shoot the next one. But in this case, he shoots the web so that way you can't see it after it spawns off screen, and he can spam it as much as he wants. Lee's gonna be doing Slash Beast. I can't remember what we do for him. I think it's a slash dash cancels as soon as we can get him to stay still. Yes, that's what it is. Okay. I don't run zero, but I know the run enough, so Lee is trying to set him up at least appropriately so he can get slash dash cancels in. There's another one thing we can use, which is called slash dash cancel, where you use the first 2 attacks in it and dash, then use your first 2 attacks again similarly. And Jay got through the vertical part of Split Mushroom actually really well. That was a really good run through that. And he's also doing what I don't see very often done. I've watched X runners is using Slash Beast ability. Slash Beast ability for those little spiky wheel dudes actually kills them in 1 hit. And oftentimes, if you kill them on the right frame, it'll despawn one behind. And we have Johnny, who is going to be doing Star so use that these big orbs they hit you, lock on you can do there for about 3 or 4 seconds. And if they lock on you and hit you for about 3 or 4 seconds, obviously huge time loss, but the soul body dispatches them immediately, and that's the only thing that can kill them. So is my audio bad?
It was a little robotish for a second, but you are good now.
Okay. Interesting. I just want to make sure everyone is listening, paying attention.
It's a cool effect. You should keep that in the bag.
Yeah. Audio check. So Lee is on Frost Walrus. This is going to be an easy stage for him because he's just going to use his flame ability I got from Magma Dragoon. And then Johnny is going to be picking up his last capsule, which is the helmet piece. The helmet for X will make it so that way anytime he uses a standard enemy ability, it doesn't actually decrease the amount of weapon energy that he gets from it. The only time it'll use weapon energy is when he charges up and uses it. For the mini boss here, he's just going to be using the flame.
Ready.
So it sounds like Jay is doing the cat percentage run this time around.
I saw that he had a cat on his keyboard, and you know what? That's okay.
It's actually what the C stands for.
This is Jay's cat typing the name. So Johnny is using Soul Body. He's doing a little bit of little trick where he so Soul Body will dispatch Cyber Peacock immediately. But if you can get him to spawn with the right type, what ends up happening is you can shoot him with your X-Buster and then hit him with this. So he's going to hit him with his X-Buster while floating in midair. And then right when he's ready to kill him, he'll hit him with Soul Body. That way he doesn't have to wait for him to spawn again. That was a pretty good kill. And Lee is going to be coming up to Frost Walrus now. I really appreciate using Soul Body to dispatch these because I haven't done that in a long time in any of my runs. The other thing to be careful with when you're running with Zero is each frame that you hit an enemy with on your abilities, it actually slows the game down. So you want to try to do your best to avoid hitting the boss as much as possible. And Lee did that there at the end if you saw that. The other thing we're seeing now is Johnny's on Spaceport, which means he's defeated all the bosses. And he's going to be doing a Colonel refight. So he's going to be fighting our Colonel again. He's trying to get off the ladder, but the game wouldn't let him get off the ladder. I know how that feels. That was actually a really good Frost Walrus fight with Lee. And we got Johnny finally picking up the helmet piece. Hopefully he can get a good peacock here. And Lee will be moving on to Spaceport. So Lee is just behind Johnny now. It's getting pretty close. And for the Colonel refight here, we pretty much do the same thing, where the only thing we're really worried about is hitting him in between his iframes. So he's going to be using the Frost Nova and then Nova Strike as well. And Lee's taking advantage of the double jump here. Johnny is just finishing up the fight. There's a little secret hidden health up there that Lee's going to pick up for safety. Because Zero in this fight will take a lot of damage.
Now get ready.
And Johnny's trying to save his game just in case. But the concept for the refight, or for the fight with Colonel and Zero is the same. You just use the ice ability. Just like you would with Mega Man, you use Frost Tower. Here we just use this because it does pretty much the same thing. And if you notice here, Double for Johnny is back. Double, our rotund friend, transforms, and he's no longer our friend in the Pepe hands. So for the X 100%, what we use is Storm Owl's ability called Twin Cyclone. Every time you hit him, though, he spawns these little ads everywhere. So you have to be careful and pretty much have to mash the attack button. Should have just swag saved. You should have. You missed out on an opportunity there. And so that was Double. Double can be actually really difficult. And he's going to be moving on to fight General, but first, we have something that we're going to be doing here shortly, which would be the Iris cutscene. So he's going to be fighting Iris.
Okay, I'll do it.
And after we fight Iris, who has cool ride armor, we'll get to see the most anime scene in any video game ever made.
I don't know, Radio, is it worth it to put Lee full screen on this one?
Well, I mean, Johnny's actually going to be ahead. He might be fighting Sigma, or no, he'll be in, boss rush.
Okay, no problem. We'll just keep it as it is. I just prepped it just in case.
So right here, Johnny is doing, he's using Twin Slasher charged up. He's getting great RNG, by the way. The RN General is usually what we call him. But you used charged Twin Slasher to hit him. And here comes Iris cutscene. I'll be quiet for this.
Hang in there, Iris.
Everyone prepared to type the number 4 a lot.
Replifos, let's live together in a world where only Reploids exist.
Iris, there's no world just for Reploid. It's only a fantasy.
Yes, I know, but I wanted to believe it. I wanted to live in a world where only Reploids exist with you.
Iris! 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 Ah! No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for
Prepare
me
your
to go
fours.
on. What? What am I fighting for?
Ready.
There's your Iris cutscene.
And thank you again, everybody. That was the $500 incentive overall.
Yes.
That it. And can't thank you all enough for that.
Johnny even let us wait so he could watch it too because he was that excited about it. So Johnny just finished the general fight. He is now going on to your atypical Mega Man, which is the boss rush. So he's going to have to refight all the bosses. And unfortunately, Lee is going to be doing the general fight. The general fight for Zero, notoriously, is like the worst one in the game. So you can't // cancel, and you have to get the good RNG. If you don't get good RNG on this fight can take what seems like forever. There is no double cutscene actually. Now, at least not until the end. At the end, you'll see there is a double cutscene if you beat it with Mega Man, but it's nothing special. So Johnny just got what's called the Web Spider Quick Kill on the first try, which is absolutely bonkers. So what he did was he damaged Web Spider as he went off screen. And when you damage Web Spider as he goes off screen, what happens is his iframes actually despawn entirely while he's off screen. And while he's off screen, if you Nova Strike him, you can basically kill him in one shot. And Johnny got that, so that's huge. And Lee was able to get an okay RNG and able to kill General here. So it looks like Johnny's still in the lead, but Lee is not too far behind. So as long as Johnny continues to get good RNG and is able to kill all the bosses relatively quickly without dying or taking too much damage, Lee might actually be able to make up a little bit of ground here. And JC is about to kill General as well, so with Johnny sort of waiting for the cutscene, it looks like it's kind of matched up the runs evenly. And Lee is going to take the right side first, which means he's going to fight Magma Dragoon. And there's really no right or wrong way to kill these bosses. Really, you just want to take the path of least resistance and take whichever path is fastest when you attack them. Normally, when I do these, I just start at the top left and work my way all the way down, and then from bottom right all the way back up. So really, in this case, it's just personal preference of what people want. Usually, people will do this based off of the health, so that way they know the path in which they have to pick up the health. Looking at the top right, looks like JC is about to do the Web Spider fight. We'll see if he can get the Web Spider quick kill here. So he's going to do some damage to him. And when he goes off screen, he's going to Nova Strike and got a pretty good amount of damage there. Didn't unfortunately get the quick kill on him, but he almost did. That was a really good attempt. What he was trying to do was, as he was going up, he was going to try to hit him in the butt where the web connects to Web Spider, with it's a single twin slash, and that'll cause him to fall down to the ground and do extra damage. But he was just too far up, so he couldn't hit him. so far, this is going to be kind of a business as usual. It's going to be the same fights you've seen. The only difference in this one is we're going to have all the enemy abilities to kill the bosses. You'll notice that we don't really actually use the boss weaknesses every single time. I think Lee got caught by the web. Fortunate. Johnny looks like I think he's nearly done with the boss rush. Maybe he has like 2 more bosses left, I think. So it looks like JC also is going to try and do the iframe hits on Storm Owl. So he's going to use Cyber Peacock's ability. He's going to turn into these little gray squares when he uses it, and then he's going to Nova Strike into him, and that takes away a ton of his health. And the reason why he does that is because those when he turns gray, each time he blinks, his iframes reset. So when you Nova Strike, you do a massive amount of damage to him. So that was a really good the fight. And after he left the screen, JC was able to point the Cyber Peacock ability, aiming laser at him again and hit him off screen. So be able to kill him pretty quick. For Jet Stingray here, his weakness is actually the Frost Tower, and the Frost Tower you would think would be okay to use here, but it actually wastes time because it forces Jet Stingray to jump in the air like this, and you'll see here. So when he jumps in the air, it's not really that beneficial to use the Frost Tower, so we don't use it that much. Essentially just some timed shots on him, just like we did before, is the best. Right now, we're just kind of business as usual, waiting for them to get through all the boss fights here. Not a whole lot of special things going on. Lee is working on killing Jet Stingray. Looks like he was able to get that done pretty quickly. Johnny is finishing up Cyber Peacock. JC is now working on Split Mushroom. And Johnny just now finished our boss rush. Looks like Lee might have, I think, about 2 bosses left. And oh no, who is it? Is it Sigma again? Yeah, final boss. And what we're going to be doing here for the final boss on Sigma is he has 3 phases, and the third phase has 2 parts, which we'll cover when we get there. But the first phase, he can only be damaged with the Rising Fire ability. So what Johnny's going to do is he's going to uppercut, hit him with Rising Fire, and then wait for him to start shooting and hit him with Rising Fire again, and that's the first phase. The second phase of Sigma is this one, and the best abilities are you to use are Nova Strike and Web Spider's ability. So what Johnny's going to do is he's going to try and time it just right so where he can use his hover boots and shoot the webs off screen. So that way Sigma can be constantly be taking damage by Web Spider's ability. And that was a pretty terrific fight by Johnny. Everybody clap. So the next one is phase 3 of Sigma. So he has 2 of them. There's Earth Sigma, and then I don't remember the other one, but I just call him Top Right Sigma. Earth Sigma spawns in the bottom left, But in between each one of those, one of these heads will spawn and do something. So with Earth Sigma, we use the Jet Stingray's ability, because that's the only thing that'll basically do damage to him besides Nova Strike. So he's going to spam some Nova Strike and use Charge Rising Fire to get rid of these heads quicker. For the top right Sigma, what he does is use the Web Spider's ability to get up to the top right and then hit him with Soul Body while he's hovering. There's two different phases of the top right Sigma that he can do, which would be called the End, and then the other one where he just stays on screen for a long time, which is one that you want. But if he does the End, unfortunately, it wastes a lot of time. While he's using Soul Body, he will... I'm just taking a little bit of damage here, so that's fine. Those heads are a little bit hard to kill. While he's up here hitting the Soul Body, he's going to take damage boost, so that way he can jump back, or he can just reinitiate his hover. But it looks like he got him down in 2 cycles, which is good. And he's going to get rid of the heads. Make sure he doesn't die here. Oh, he almost died. That was really close. So he's going to hit a sub-tank real quick. Whew. And this is going to be time for Johnny coming up here soon. Lee is actually just finishing up the boss rush, so he's going to be going up to Sigma next. So as soon as Johnny loses control of his time, looks like Johnny's time is 50 minutes and 29 seconds, approximately. As soon as he hits that platform is when we have time. It's going to be the same for everybody else. And it looks like right now we're tied nearly for between Lee and JC. If you watch in the bottom left, you get to see a brief cutscene with Double. Here's the trick that Lee has to do. Here's a Double cutscene. Lee has to use the same fire ability, but unfortunately his does not do as much damage as the Rising Fire, so he's going to fall behind JC. JC is going to be using the same strategy that Johnny was using, which is basically using hover boots and then shooting the webs spawn off screen. And Lee is just going to try and minimize the number of times he hits and then use his Giga Strike as often as possible. And then wherever he can, using the slash dash cancel. And he's doing something clever here, which is using his Giga attack anytime he's about to be hit with the scythe, so that way he can avoid taking damage. And we have JC now is on the last phase of Sigma, and Lee is now on the last phase of Sigma as well. So Lee's is going to be a little bit more difficult. His is very hard to kill this Sigma. It takes a lot longer. So he got a V-end attack, which is unfortunate. So Lee's going to try and slash dash cancel through a lot of this, but usually you see people try to do the slash dash cancel. Sometimes it's just easier to do slash dash cancel instead. So right now what he's doing, he's just jumping in the air and hitting Sigma with a quick air attack. This is anybody's game at this point, chat. So it looks like Lee just finished up the top right Sigma, and Lee is about to go on to face Earth Sigma and try and get this done. He's using the slash dash cancel there, which is it's a little bit faster, just like that. He's got that on lock too. He's doing a good job. He's also using the ability you get from Jet Stingray, and Lee just finished up Sigma. And JC is now trying to get rid of top right Sigma. Looks like he's going to get rid of him pretty soon. time will be for Lee as soon as he hits a platform. And JC is also going to finish up his Sigma here too. This was a really close race between the two. Lee, as soon as he hits the platform, time, which is about 54:06 for Lee. And then JC is going to do the same thing. You guys get to hear the and that's going to be time for JC at about 54:26. So Zero's cutscene, obviously, a little bit different than Lee's at the end. And that, everybody, is Mega Man X4. Thank you, everybody, for who donated to help meet the incentive. We hit $533 tonight. Thank you to ThisIsJayC, JustLeeBelmont, and Johnny_Go for racing. That was a lot of fun to watch and a lot of fun to commentate as an X4 speedrunner myself. You guys are the best. Thank you guys for being you. Thank you to Warwick for helping put all this together. And I'm going to turn it over to him.
All right, Radio. Thank you so much. If we actually want to get the runners to unmute themselves and kind of introduce themselves, really do appreciate that. That was a heck of a race. Very good time. And let's go ahead and start off with Johnny and then Lee and JC.
Oh, I'm Johnny Go. I play this game.
So humble, Johnny. All right, Lee.
Hey guys, I'm JustLeeBelmont, your noble vampire hunter. I speed run way too many video games. I'm on a quest to learn 100 different ones. I'm on 74 out of 100, so if you guys want to see me in my quest to go fast, you know where to find me.
And J Cat.
Hi, I'm JC. I also run this game. Poorly, but I still do it anyway.
Oh, you guys. Moving speeches about as good as the Iris speech.
I'm so glad we got the incentive for that.
Can we just get a 4? Oh my gosh. Well,
we're great.
Thank you all for being the first 3-person race on Decent Speedies history. As far as I know, it went okay. It looked all right on my end.
Hey, we all completed the game, so.
Yeah,
it looks good.
I died to Dragoon, as I expected.
And we got a whole bunch of 4s.
Johnny Goes soft lock. He did it once in Cyber Peacock stage, and we didn't even think it was possible, but it's always fun to find weird flaws like that.
Right.
And then.
All right.
Not a race if I don't soft lock.
Well, thank you all again for racing, and I think Radio, you still there?
I am.
All right, JC, Lee, and Johnny, I'm gonna go ahead and talk for a bit with Radio on, and thank you all again for running. And Radio, it's the end.
It is the end.
We did it. We're going to do closing, but I just want to say thank you again for your help in all this. And, you know, I know that you keep saying that you feel like you didn't do much, but you were just one of the many building blocks in all of this. So thank you so much for being a part of this.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for letting me be a part of it, and to everybody who was a part of it as well, the runners and the people who helped in the background, putting stuff together. Everyone was phenomenal and helped make this whole thing go much, much better than planned.
Right. Yes, I could not say that enough. So what we're going to do is we are actually going to do a quick intermission, and then we will be right back in just a few minutes. We're going to do some closing ceremonies, I guess, and go from there. So thank you all again. We'll be right back.